Hey guys, Drew here over at RevHiker Outdoors, and I've got a video today for you. Now, if you've been watching my survival tabs videos, you know that I've been homesick with my daughter, so I've got a little bit of extra time today, and I'm going to kick out a video that I've been wanting to do for like a month, and the time just hasn't struck me, but since I'm home today, I do have a chance to do it. So what I'm going to give you today is my 2015 Ultralight backpacking gear list. So I'm going to move the camera. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I carry on my person, carry in my pack, and show you kind of how I carry that. What I won't be going through is food. And I will also be including optional gear that I carry when the weather gets a little colder. So just so you know, this is a 3-season, and it has provisions to, you know, be a little bit early spring and late fall when the temperatures can dip. But this is not a 4-season setup. So anyway, stay tuned. Here we go. Okay, guys. So I'm going to start out with what I carry on my person. This is what will be on me and not in the pack. And the first thing that I always carry are sunglasses. These are not expensive. These are just some cheapies that I picked up, but they work. And so my eyes get pretty sensitive to light. I have blue eyes, and generally speaking, people with lighter colored eyes have more of a sensitivity to light. So I always have a pair of cheap sunglasses, no pun intended. So next thing that I carry on me is this. This is a Chum's, I think they call it the Smoky, the Chum's Smoky. And this basically has a fire starter. This is a little miniature ferro rod with a striker, but it's also, you know, how they choose to use the closure. So this is just really good. You know, it really doesn't bother you. It's on your wrist. It's not something that you notice. And there's a fair amount of paracord here in the event that something happens and either your cord gets damaged, or you lose something, or you forget to bring something, or there's an emergency and you need extra cordage that's not part of your kit. This is a great way to carry it. Makes it really convenient, and as a, you know, extreme backup, it's a fire starter. So that's another thing I carry on my person. Next, this is incredibly important. I love this knife. Now, I think a knife is really important to have anytime you're outdoors or indoors for that matter. I'm a big proponent of carrying a knife. And in the past, I've carried some different fixed blade knives, and I've carried my homemade knife before. I've carried a Mora before. There was times a long time ago where I'd carry 4 or 5 knives and I'd have a full multi-tool. This year, for 2015, I'm just going to be carrying a high quality folder. I know the theme on my channel is mostly budget stuff and how you can do this stuff for less. And there are certainly knives that are less expensive that are still good and strong, but I'm kind of a knife guy, and this is something that I wanted to, you know, spend money on, and not to mention the fact that I got it really cheap. I had a bunch of gift cards to the store that I purchased it in, so out of pocket, this $180 knife cost me less than 50 bucks. So can't really beat it. Benchmade 940 for those of you that aren't familiar. Great knife. This will be on my person. Love this because it's 2.9 ounces or 2.3. I don't remember the exact weight, but it's really light. Aluminum scales, S30V stainless blade, just rock solid. Never gonna let you down. So there's that. Next thing I'm going to carry on my person, this will be in my pocket, is this lighter. If you guys have seen my Zippo hack, this is the one I did it to. So what I did is I pulled the rayon out of the bottom of this and I replaced it with cotton, so that in the event that the fluid ran out, I could just take the cotton out and actually light it with just the striker there. And I have extra flint in the bottom of this, and I took I cut the end of a balloon off, the part where you blow it up, and I just put it right on here, and this makes the fluid last a lot longer. And it's really, I chose the balloon because it had the this end is perfect, because you can just roll this thing back and then you're ready to go. So anyway, there's that. Oh, another thing I did on this Zippo is I drilled out very sloppily because I was in a rush, but I drilled out the side because I wanted it to be able to do this. Wanted to be able to turn it sideways and still have the flame come out. So anyway, that's that. This will be on my person. Very handy thing to have. So there's that. Let's see what else. Next, I'm just going to go into my pack. That's really I won't carry much more on my person other than say my cell phone. Okay, so here's my pack. Now, normally this whole thing would be extended a little more, and because the food would all be in here. Now, this looks puffed up, but really that's just because I have a down jacket in there. So there's quite a bit of room for food in there. And what I have done in the past is, you know, I can lash this to the bottom because there are loops on there. But most of the time I just throw it in top. Now, let's just start with this since it's kind of right in the front. This is kind of a new piece of gear this year. Many guys use Reflectix and something like, you know, in that kind of same vein for their sleeping pad. And I used this winter. I picked it up, and this is actually a auto shade. So this goes in the windshield of your car. I got the jumbo one. This is made for like large SUVs and trucks and stuff like that. You can get them at like bargain stores, like by me. There's a place called Ollie's Bargain Outlet or something like that, and you can have these for like $4.98 is what they're priced at. So dirt cheap and awesome. I love it because it's really wide, and it kind of, in my hammock, it wraps around and kind of gets the sides of your shoulders and everything, and almost wraps your feet up. So it adds a lot of extra insulation and weighs absolutely nothing. This thing is, you know, just a few ounces. So really, really good. Reflects your heat back to you. Just awesome stuff. So kind of that's that. It goes almost the whole length of my body, but my head is never on this anyway, so that's not really an issue. It covers from my feet to you know, the base of my neck. So works out really well. That is going to be a great piece of gear this year. Now we'll move to the top compartment of my bag, which you probably have seen in other videos. This is my Marmot compressor, just the base model one, and I cut out a few things on the inside because they were unnecessary for me. And oh, just real quick, I always tie one of these to my packs. Just a little thermometer and a backup compass to the one that's in my first aid kit. Just kind of nice to know what the temperature is at any given time when you wake up at night or whatever else. So anyway, there's that. Top pocket. Let's do this here. Spork. This is a Light My Fire Spork. Pretty self-explanatory. These things are great. Weigh nothing. Pretty tough. Sawyer Mini. And with that, I keep the syringe because I like to have a lot of water, and I like to be able to grab it from really dirty things, dirty little pools. And you do need to carry this if you're going to be sucking up any kind of junk water, because this will start to slow down quite a bit, and you just back flush it. Works awesome. I've got some videos on that. I have the half-liter bag, and what I've done is I gutted a piece of paracord, and sometimes I will just use this almost like a clutch, as like a little lanyard when I'm walking. I just want to walk with this filled up. So that comes in really handy for that. Because sometimes I'll just leave the filter attached right on the top and just kind of walk holding on to it so I can drink on the go. Nice and convenient, especially on a hot day. So there's that. Let me just move this stuff out of the way as I go. We've got, oh, this is the straw for it just in case. And this is my Princeton Tech Fuel headlamp. Love this thing. Four different modes, 3 brightnesses, and then like a flashing mode. This thing lasts forever. I've talked about this in other lists. This thing will not leave my ultralight backpacking list until it's like shattered into a million pieces and totally, you know, inoperable. I've had this for 10 years, still going strong, and I replace the batteries like every other year. Absolutely love it, and they don't even need to be replaced. I just do it as a matter of, you know, I think it should be done, just in case. So love this thing. Great headlamp. I have some UCO Strike Anywhere matches. I know I have several forms of starting fire. I don't care. In an emergency situation, you're going to want to be able to start fire. And if you lose your pack, you want to have some on, you know, on your person. So that's why I carry it in my pocket, on my wrist with the Smoky, and in my pack in 2 different places. So that's that. And usually they get stuck in here, which is like my first aid / toilet paper / map bag. I'm not going to get into great detail about my first aid kit, but I will tell you that I have several different size Band-Aids, up to and including the very large one. It's like that big. I have some duct tape in there, have some electrical tape, I have chunks of gauze, and that's about it. Oh, I also carry Imodium AD, because if you guys have ever gotten the Hershey squirts in the backcountry, you know how bad that stinks. So definitely can't carry some anti-diarrheal, because it happens. So you want to be able to stop that as soon as possible, not only because it's dangerous, but because it's just really inconvenient. So first aid kit and map. Always have a map and know how to use it. Oh, and there's a compass in there as well, sandwiched in between so it doesn't get wrecked. Alright, that's about it for the top pocket. Now let's go to the main compartment. Actually, we'll take this because it's on the outside. This is a smart water bottle, and I only did this because these threads fit perfectly to the Sawyer. And I use this, I squeeze clean water into this. This stays clean at all times. And again, because this compressor does not have anything on the side to carry a water bottle, I just took a little cheesy carabiner and some paracord. Again, this is useful for extra paracord just in case. And it literally just clips onto the strap down at the base. And it just kind of dangles alongside as I walk. Doesn't bother me in the least. And I get to carry another like 0.6 liters, I think it is. So anyway, between the bag and this, I can carry a liter at a time. And what I normally do is just stop at any water source and filter some and chug it right away. So these are just left in reserve. Okay, gearless, back onto the gear. Gotta get out of the philosophy and just get to the gear. Sorry guys. This is a mosquito head net. I do not use a full bug net with my hammock, so I use this. And this doubles as a ditty bag for my food when I put it all in there. So I put my food in here, cinch it down, and that kind of keeps everything together in the pack at least. So head net, I think it's made by Coughlin's, cost me $2 maybe. Super cheap, ridiculous. And next thing is my cheapo down jacket that I got like on sale. This is $6.50 fill. Really does the job. This is part of my sleep system, and also just part of, sometimes in the Adirondacks where I frequently am, it's pretty cold in the morning. Even if it's going to be 80 that day, it could still be, you know, 45 in the morning, and you know, this light moisture wicking t-shirt that I wear usually isn't going to cut that. So wear this, or I bring this. Down jacket, it's kind of hard to argue with the usefulness of that in any backpacking situation. So great piece of gear. Next is my cook kit, and I just keep this in a little bag to keep it all together, and just kind of keep it with a half hitch. You've seen this in some other videos, but this is just my Sierra cup, and I've got my fuel in here, which is I use heat, and that another thing of matches. That goes with my alcohol stove that I made out of a Mountain Dew can, and there are 1,000,001 ways to make these things if you look on YouTube. Next is just a little tin can that I found. This is actually made out of aluminum, super light. And what I do is, and I've got another video on this too, but when this is burning to save fuel, just throw that over it. It puts it out. Then I can dump the fuel in here, and I have a little improvised spout. Goes right back in the bottle, so I can serve fuel. I don't have to bring as much. There's not as much waste, and none of it's getting leaked into the ground. So yeah, there you go. Just super easy. And, you know, not for nothing, but this is a secondary container should anything happen to, you know, anything else. So just kind of, it's nice because it saves fuel, but it also serves another purpose as a backup container. So there's that. There's my cook kit. Let me throw this all back together here. Get it out of the way for you. Next in the pack is a hammock. This is an Eno single nest. Yes, there are lighter hammocks. No, I don't really want them because they're usually limited to 200 pounds, and that means between myself and whatever gear I'm carrying in there, I'm going to be over by probably a minimum of, you know, 225 to 30 pounds. So I go with this because it's a little stronger. It's rated for 400. Now you'll notice that there's usually a compression strap that goes around here. I cut that off. It's not necessary, and I want the extra room to store things in here anyway. So that weight dropped the weight. I also got rid of the carabiners in here, and they're actually being used to hang up my tandem kayak in my garage right now. What I do carry in here are two very small loops that I use to secure my tarp. Geez, lost my words there. I use to secure my tarp, and I just use these as little prusik loops, and they work very well. And then I also keep my ridge line in here just to make sure everything is together. And this is just some 550 paracord. Very, very simple. You know, just keep that coiled up. And then inside also are my two suspension straps, and then obviously the hammock. So I try to keep all this stuff together to keep it organized, because it just helps me to not lose it, because that kind of something I tend to do. So this keeps everything nice and tidy and together, and so I don't have to worry about anything. I know where all my stuff is going to be. Okay, last thing that's kind of, well, one of the last things. This is my SOL Escape Bivy. I have talked about this at length in several videos. I love this thing. Some people don't like it. That's cool, but this is my video, and this is the thing I use, and it works awesome. And I've got a really cool mod that I'm going to be doing to it. So stay tuned for that sometime in the future if I can ever get around to doing it. But it'll help the bigger guys fit into this thing, like myself. So Escape Bivy, that's my part of my sleep system. And then also kicking around in here, I've got just a little very lightweight Mountain Hardwear beanie that I picked up on clearance somewhere. And this just I use at night, just throw it on, and sometimes it's cold in the morning. Just a nice little layer, keeps the chill off of your head. So there's that. And the very last thing in here is my tarp. And this is the one that I made myself. You can, I'll try to put a link in the description box for all this stuff that I've been saying. I've got other videos on, but I've got the cordage just wrapped right around it. These comes from the four corners, and literally I just made this by myself. It's pretty nice and lightweight, and works really well. I've had it out several nights with no ill effects and no real signs of wear. So that's it for gear. I'm going to cut and come right back. So now we're going to move on to optional gear. So I gave you kind of the base, the things that I'm always going to have with me no matter what. And these are some of the optional things that I will bring dependent on weather. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention that is in there is I do have an inexpensive poncho that is in my first aid kit. Just one of the really super thin ones. So, you know, I did fail to mention that. That is something that is always with me. Some people get really big on rain gear. I really don't. I've used those ponchos many times, and they work just well because they cover my pack and they cover as much of me as I need to be covered. So anyway, here's the optional gear based on how cold it's going to be. And I just keep them in this little ditty bag. And by the way, these do compress quite a bit more. That's just in here for now. Now, some people might laugh and say, "Oh, you need a tech fabric," but I find that if it's going to be cold, seriously, just a pair of fleece pants, like fleece pajama type pants, these things work awesome. I mean, they provide, for me, in my experience, more insulation than a lot of the expensive tech things that are tight and form-fitting. That's just me personally, at least for my legs. My upper body, I do like to wear some of the other, more technical wicking things that are supposed to be insulative, and that's also what I bring for my upper body. This is something that I use for hunting as well, but it's just your basic. It's not Under Armour brand. I think this is Russell because it's dirt cheap, but this nice and stretchy, decently thick. It is wicking, and it really doesn't stand up to the wind because it is wicking, but if you're shielded from the wind, it's a really good insulator. So I will bring these two things if I think it's going to be pretty cold, especially at night. Obviously, I wouldn't hike in these things. Now, speaking of that, this is what I use, for my pants. Now, for sure, I just have a Columbia wicking T-shirt that I wear, and these are just generic. I think these are like White Sierra because they were cheap, but they're just zip-off pants. So pants and shorts in one. If it's warm out, I just take please excuse my ridiculous dog smacking into my tripod. This is like the third take, so I'm not going to redo this part. So I just use these. If it's cold out, I put the bottoms on, and at night I usually put the bottoms on, and during the day I just go in the shorts. And really nice because they're cargo. You can put a couple extra things in here. You can run a belt through there. Nice and comfortable, lightweight. So anyway, that's that. Okay, guys. So there you have it. I've gone through things that I carry on my body, the main gear in my pack, and also optional gear if it's going to be a little bit cold. So here are the weights. For my regular pack without the cold weather gear, and by the way, this does not include food, water. It does include fuel. I always include fuel, the little bit of fuel. And so yeah, it's just gear, but not things worn. It's not my clothes, and it's not the things that I keep in my pockets. It's just what's in the pack. That is 6.5 pounds. So really, really nice and lightweight. And with the extra cold weather gear, it literally rounds out to exactly 7.5 pounds, or just under 7.5, 7.4 and change. So it adds about a pound, but it also adds quite a bit of comfort in the cold. So anyway, guys, that is my 2015 gear list. It's what I will be hiking with. And again, my gear lists are always kind of fluid. I'm always leaving something home and taking something different and really checking it out and finding what's going to work best. A lot of the stuff is the same, but I've definitely changed some things up from the last gear list video I did. Now, just to be kind of budget minded again, aside from my pocket knife, a lot of the stuff in there is dirt cheap, and you can put that all together for 100, 150 bucks or less. If you get some bargains, you can do that pack for right around 100 bucks. So anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Hope this helped. Go ahead if you've got some cool things that maybe you think I could switch out, or maybe some interesting things that you do to save weight. Go ahead, put that stuff in the comments below. I will try to put links to a lot of the videos that I mentioned in the description box. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to thumbs up, to subscribe, share, comment, and God bless you guys. Have a great day, and stay safe out on the trails. Have a good one.